Hey, what's up guys? It's Tensor talking to you here, and in this video I want to talk about a very different topic and a little bit deviation from the normal content from this channel, which is Apple. And today I want to talk about an Android phone that has caught my eye for the first time in several years, since the Note 10 probably. And it is the Google Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. I think that Google is doing an amazing job with this phone, and I think that it should be praised, and I'm here to praise this amazing new Android flagship that is probably coming on October. But before we get started, remember that this video is based on leaks and the latest statements from Google CEO, which talked about the Tensor chip coming on the Google Pixel 6, which is Google's own SoC. So it's very interesting to talk about. But before we start, roll the intro. So from Q2 from 2021 earnings call, Google CEO talked about the Tensor chip coming on the new Google Pixel 6 phones. And this new Tensor chip will focus on AI. So it will be a very strong AI focused chip. This chip will be able to produce amazing jobs. They gave an example about the child, and if you take a picture of your toddler or of your child, very young person, and the image from the face gets a little bit blurry, the Google Pixel phone and the Tensor chip will be able to recognize that that's a kid, and it will make the resolution from that image sharper and make the adjustments necessary to bring up the face from the kid so it looks very good and not very blurry. And that's really cool, and it will adjust focus and stuff. And this new Tensor chip will be amazing to do a lot of stuff too. But this new Google Pixel 6 is rumored to be a jump from last year. Let's say that, because this Google Pixel 6 will have a bigger feature set. For example, it will feature flagship stuff, like it will be a flagship, not a undertaken or a takedown model. It will be a flagship phone, and with a flagship phone comes a flagship price. It's rumored to be priced around $999, the Google Pixel 6 around the same as the iPhone 12 Pro, and the Google 6 Pro a little bit more expensive than that, so it will probably be the iPhone 12 Pro Max equivalent, but I'm not sure about that, and those are only rumors. My opinion, it will be like that, and it makes sense because the Google Pixel phone with the features that I'm about to tell you is very, very interesting. So let's get started with these features, and I think they will be very excited. First of all, this phone will come with the Android 12 OS. This is the new Android, and it will be featured on the Google Pixel 6. And this is pretty cool because Google has control over the I/O and AI and over the software and hardware, which is amazing, just like Apple does, and it is able to bring a very cool experience to the Pixel phones, and that's what makes me more interested in them, because they are closer to Apple in a way. They look like Apple, but from Android, and I love that. And if they bring a watch, a Google Watch, that's pretty cool. And John Prosser talked about that, because so we are expecting a watch from Google, and John Prosser is almost correct about Google leaks. I don't know why, but it is. So I'm very excited to see what Google brings this year, because they finally waked up. So it will come with Android 12 with, I probably like it. It's not my favorite OS, I prefer iOS, but I like Android 12. And the display on the 6 will be a 6.4 AMOLED display with 90 Hz, while the 6 Pro will have a 6.7 inches AMOLED with 120 Hz display. In the rumors, it's not stated if it is a variable refresh rate display, but I believe those two will be variable refresh rate displays, just like the Google Pixel 5 has one, which will enable a lot of stuff, 1 Hz, 60 Hz, 90 Hz, or 120 when needed. So this phone will have the flagship screen on the 6.7 inch model, the Pro model, just like the 12 Pro Max, and the Google Pixel 6 equivalent will have a 90 Hz AMOLED display, which is pretty cool too and pretty good. But I would expect on this 6 Pro costing $999 to have 120 Hz, but that's Google's choice to cut down on costs and stuff. So 90 Hz to 120, most of people won't notice, and it's pretty good deal. The RAM, the Google Pixel 6 will come with 6 GB of RAM, while the Pro will come with 12. This is good. It's better than the iPhone Pros, but I don't think that's enough for today's battle. But I think that Google has Android optimized for Pixel, and if so, because last few years they haven't, but if this year they came out with a more optimized version of Android for Google Pixel, the 8 or 12 gigabytes will be more than enough, because the iPhone can get by with 6. So I believe that 8 or 12, it's good enough if Pixel optimizes the software pretty well. While the storages, the 6 will start with 128 gigabytes and the 6 Pro will start with 128 to 256 and go to 512, while the Google Pixel 6 will only go to 256 gigabytes of storage. Well, the Google 6 or the Google Pixel 6 will have two cameras, a wide and an ultra wide, just like the Google Pixel 4 and 5. The Google Pixel 4 had an ultra wide with 12 megapixels, and the Google Pixel 6 will feature 50 megapixels on the wide and 48 megapixels on the ultra wide. This is amazing and very incredible, because I'm very excited to see what Google finally can do with good hardware on their cameras, because their software is just the best. Their AI and imaging recognition and all that imaging processing is just the best. In my opinion, it's better than Apple, but Apple has better hardware, so when you combine them both, I believe that Apple has better shots and better cameras. But now that Google brings a very incredible camera to their smartphones, a very incredible hardware, I'm very excited to see what they do and if they can surpass Apple, because I believe they can if they make this camera just as good as their software. And if this hardware is as good as their software, I fear for Apple, because this camera will be just insane. But it gets better. The 6 Pro will feature 3 cameras finally on the Google 6 Pixel. So the Google Pixel 6 Pro will have 50 megapixel wide and 48 megapixel ultra wide, just like the Google Pixel 6, but it will feature a 48 megapixel telephoto. And that's pretty incredible. Sorry about that. Before I told you that it's a 48 megapixel ultra wide. It's not, it's a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 48 megapixel telephoto. So this 48 megapixel telephoto will probably be able to zoom 10x, or if Google does this magic with the cameras like the other Android phones are doing, it could go to 20x or even 100x. We are not sure, but John Prosser didn't talk about that. He talked about the cameras being a lot better, having more megapixels, and the hardware finally being good on these cameras. I'm very excited. The camera I/O and imaging processing is the best from Android. Any phone is from Google, and I think that's their selling point. It's their imaging processing. And now that they have this Tensor chip, which is just amazing, that can have amazing AI, it's built for that. I believe that we will have amazing cameras, probably the best on the market when it comes out. Let's see what iPhone 13 has in store for it, but I don't believe it will be better than the Google Pixel 6, according to these rumors. But the front camera will be, well, Google Pixel 6 will cut on costs. Here he's saying that it will have 8 megapixels on the front camera on the 6 and 12 megapixels on the Pro. So it will be an average camera, just like the iPhone. Probably the image processing will be very good too, when the Tensor chip will have very much on that, and it will have amazing photos on the front camera. But the front camera was never the strong suit from Google. And talking about the cameras, I'm very excited to see what night mode can do on Google Pixel 6 now that the AI with the Tensor chip has very improved. And let's see if they can bring these amazing pictures at night like they do during the day. Last year's or 2 years ago, Pixel's night mode was the best and better than Apple in my opinion. And let's see what Google Pixel's 6 night mode will bring us, but I'm expecting it will be top of the line in terms of quality, lighting, colors, all of that will be just insane, and I'm very excited to see. I won't probably buy it, but it's a very cool phone to have and to use. I'll probably try to try it out, but it probably won't come out in my country, which is very sad. Finally, the battery life on the Pixel 6, 5, 4. I mean, Pixel is not known for being the best battery life on the market or having the best battery life on the market. The Google Pixel 5 had poor battery life and the 4 even poorer. So I believe that Google will try to bring the battery life a little bit closer to the other flagships, because it has been standardized that at least a 5,000 or 4,000 mAh battery for an Android phone is necessary because of the optimization. Apple does it differently, so they can use lower capacity batteries, but Google will use a 4,600,000 mAh battery on the Google 6 and a 5,000 mAh battery on the Google 6 Pro, which is very exciting because finally we have a huge battery on these phones, and these phones will be probably the best flagship in terms of Android. And let's see if Google can finally defeat Samsung on all the fronts, not just the camera. And I'm very excited to see if they can win over more market share, because Google, although is a very tricky company in terms of ad revenue policies, privacy policies, they are amazing and ingenious when talking about AI and software AI and all of the programs and stuff. Software is the best software just comes from Google, and I'm very excited what they can do. This Tensor chip probably comes from their work when working on quantum physics computers. So I think that this Tensor chip is the first SoC that they make. Will help the Google Pixel 6 destroy every other Android on the market, because I think that Apple still differentiates from them in terms of ecosystem, and everyone who has an iPhone will probably want to switch to a Google Pixel 6. But let the other companies be feared from this phone, because I am very excited, and it seems pretty cool that Google it's finally trying to make some good phones, not just like, okay, here's a phone. It has my hardware and costs a lot of money. But I'm very excited to see what this new Google Pixel 6 looks like, because John Prosser has revealed us, and now MKBHD post on Instagram talking about this Google Pixel 6 and confirming the leaks from John Prosser. So I'm very excited, and let's just see what Google has to bring us in October, which is probably the timeline that will be coming a month after the iPhone 13. So if John Prosser is correct, of course. So what do you think of this Google Pixel 6? Are you excited? And do you like this content from other vendors and other iPhone or phone makers? Let me know on the comments down below. Don't forget to leave a like while you're there, turn on the notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, all those stuff. This was Texmer talking to you here. Bye.